Hello, and welcome to Fables from the Pickled Quipper. This is Rich standing in for the intro, just because I just needed to let you know that this episode has a few little audio issues amongst it. Basically what happened was it seemed to double up on the recording at the time, and so there's a slight weird effect happening with people's voices. Everybody should still be understandable. And it's one of our shorter episodes anyway, so hopefully it won't dissuade you from listening too much. Shouldn't be too bad, and we should be back to normal next time. But I just wanted to let you know in advance. We pick up, well, where we've been for a few episodes here, down in Badger Down, preparing to leave and head back to the surface. Hope you enjoy.
Brief summary then. Let's see. Sylvaris is Border Rothe. There was some eating, some people went to go look at a mushroom farm, and Claire had a chat with Orsic, caught up on her family, and is planning on sending a letter with Orsic by Dorgrove Tebrin, and that was the end of the 23rd day of Marpina. So we will be picking up on the 24th day. Session 38. Can you believe it? My goodness. You wake up. How would you like to begin your day?
Well, everyone, should we get going? Time's a wasting.
It doesn't have to be acted out, but Claire definitely needs to just pop into the Grand Workshop to drop off her letter this morning.
Give me an investigation check. We assume that this is sort of while the rest of you are just kind of gathering your stuff together, still at the guest house.
18.
Okay. Could have taken you a couple hours, but thankfully you rolled high. The Grand Workshop, and let me review this on the map for you, since you've headed over to that part of town, is basically what they've done is in one corner of this sort of large cavern, they have created a space where they've sort of built into it and put a roof on it, essentially. So yeah, you go into this thing, and it's just the sound is staggering. There's so much hammering. Of course, it's always on the beat, as you have kind of come to expect in your time here in Badger Down. The air is thick with soot and smoke and ash. Kind of everywhere you look, you see sparks flying in different directions. You sort of start looking and realize that this building is immense, and that literally just trying to find him would be ridiculous. And just as you're about to sort of build up the courage to ask someone, you see that next to the door there is a huge, basically like a directory that tells you exactly, there's like these sort of forges throughout, placed back to back and stuff, and they literally have it organized into like rows, and you're able to find Orsic's name, find out which row he's on, and it's like being at the target for forges. So you find out that he's on E17. You go to E17, and sure enough, you see Orsic there, and you're able to hand over the note. He says he's not sure. He doesn't have a particular return date in mind necessarily, but when he does head back, he'll take the note and let them know that you're doing well. Fairly abruptly dismisses you, not in a rude way, just in a sort of a dwarf who's got work to do kind of way,
She'll head back to the guest house and probably actually, is it open in the morning for food or is it closed?
Yeah, you could get a bite down there.
Okay, yeah. If no one else is up, she'll sit down by herself and probably order something to eat. But if anyone else is down there already, she'll join them.
Sylvaris was actually already down there, and he happened to be waiting for Claire to come back.
Oh.
I mean, food
Mm,
sounds good.
there you are.
She just bug-eyed stares at you.
He gestures with his hand. Please have a seat.
Oh, okay.
And he just kind of like stares at her intently, and he in his normal fashion he takes a little while to speak, but he's just kind of like arms propped on the table, hunched over, leaning forward, staring at her for just a minute. You have an ever expanding array of capabilities. Just yesterday, you enlightened me to one of your spells. Not a clerical one. And he kind of leans back and crosses his arms. You're useful. You can communicate over any distance, if I am correct.
Maybe.
Now, one might say we are friends.
Claire, when he says that, her hand comes up to, casually rub her nose, but she's really stifling a bit of a grin.
Now, I am curious.
Bow.
We have a couple of loose threads, and well, perhaps not now as we are preparing to embark on our return to the surface, but at some point it may benefit us, your abilities. You see, there are concerning, uh, or there are concerns about those that we have encountered that are no longer with us. Riskin has been weighing on my mind. Why he disappeared. I would like to gain some form of closure. Someone like him wandering about. Or even, well, influenced by other parties that we know. Sets me at some sense of unease. And then Duarte, amongst others.
Claire several times has looked like she's about to start talking, but she stopped, because Silverius always picks up again. And she kind of looks like she's just waiting to make sure he's not going to say anything else. And he doesn't, right?
No, he's a.
Okay. Never quite sure. No, I agree. Riskin's been weighing heavy on my mind. I worry about someone like him being out on his own. And I want to know why he left when, we told him he'd be safe. And anything you ever want to know about my magic, Silvarius, I'm an open book. You can just ask me.
And he nods. We may speak more on the matter in the future. I have some business to attend to.
He stands up and nods at her, and if she doesn't say anything, he's gonna head on out.
When he leaves, she just kind of chuckles fondly to herself. And yeah, then we'll head up to the bar and just order some breakfast.
I will already be at the bar eating breakfast.
And you actually don't recognize the barkeep right now. Urki is not there. A rock gnome as opposed to a Svrfnibblin that you hadn't met before. But alright, I rather suspect you didn't stop to ask her name.
No.
But they're just sort of, pottering about, and Claire, when you come over, they're able to quickly grab you some food. What are the rest of you guys up to?
Cassette would probably go get food. I mean, she'd be up with everybody else, I guess. She may, if there's a mushroom-based breakfast dish, she may be a little bit more hesitant than normal, but she'd still eat it.
Roll a percentile dice.
Oh no, what have I gotten myself into?
Or is it more what is
14. Lucky
what have you got
14.
into
That's gotta be
yourself?
good. Yeah.
So it's actually they're serving a pretty nice sort of fry up. So there's some assorted meats, there's some potatoes. There are some mushrooms on the plate that look disturbingly familiar. And to your right, they look a lot like the destroying angels that someone yelled at you to not pick the previous day.
It's in like a soup or something? Or
No,
what? It's just on the plate?
Yeah, they're just fried along with everything else. Basically, everything on your plate was fried, probably all in the same frying pan.
Alright, she's just like poking at it, like looking around, making sure. Like, am I seeing something that nobody else is seeing? She sees the same thing on everybody's plate?
I imagine that Bardo's plate's probably already pretty clean. But yes, you do see what looks to be the same type of mushroom on Claire's plate.
Did these look familiar? She's like poking it. Were these the ones that almost killed me?
Claire with a mouthful of them already in her mouth. I won't say so.
Okay, you want mine?
She'll just nod enthusiastically.
Does the awkward like spoon one onto the, but like you're trying not to spill it on the table, but kind of like leaning over, and she'll give you the few because she's not confident with that one.
Claire's a trusting little bean. She's gonna assume the bar is not gonna serve them poisonous mushrooms.
I mean, she knows it's fine, but yeah, just something about that subconsciously doesn't allow her to do that. Maybe when they're cooked, they're fine. I don't know, but was it the and it's just been a little while. Was it like the just touching it that was the issue? Because then we could like keep one or keep.
I have one.
Okay.
How did you collect it?
I just bit it right off the floor.
He actually has it in his cheek, stored right now.
Like a chipmunk.
I believe somebody picked it up with special gloves and deposited it in a pouch for me.
Yeah, they do. They have a lot of dragonhide gloves here. That's right. Seems to be their preference. Where did Silverius get off to?
He was going to get his rothe.
All right, that's what I thought. As you head over to the main market, you see a large creature waiting for you with a wagon. There was a wagon discussed, I believe, correct? Yes, cart. And so you see this large, furry, sort of light gray-brown beast with huge horns, and some assorted saddlebags as well as the cart. And you see a familiar-looking gnome who sort of perks up as they see you, and they just look over and go, "Hey, how you doing?"
Fine.
Good, good. I have your rothay ready.
Good. Does the beast have a name?
Yes.
Well,
Oh, you wanted to know the name. The beast is called Kraves.
all right.
It's pretty well trained, so it should just follow you now that it knows that you're its master. But if it doesn't, we don't have a refund policy.
I suspect we shouldn't need one.
That's right.
Savaris walks up and puts his hand on the side of the Rothay.
Make a animal handling check.
Tough.
Okay. Krailth is not immediately repulsed by you, so that's good.
Well, there's a first for everything.
Yeah. And you, as you do that, you see the gnome go up and just sort of mutter something in a language you don't understand to the beast, and there's just sort of a brief nod, and from the creature, which you kind of weren't expecting necessarily. There's a brief nod, and then it sort of looks over to you, just sort of questioningly, really.
Savaris, his head kind of like he tilts it kind of like to the side, looking at it, and he's kind of gives that kind of like head nod, like let's go this way. And he's just like,
Let's go, Krail.
and he kind of like loosely, not aggressively, just loosely kind of pulls on any kind of like saddling to kind of like nudge it towards him, or I guess like what do you call the gear that is mounted up on reins? Yes, those reins.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah, you do that, and Kraoth follows. Seems to be pretty obedient.
A smile creeps onto Sylvaris' lips, and he will carry or guide the Rothay back to the guest house.
You do see, just sort of taking a quick look as you go, the saddlebags seem to be filled with some food. You were able to take your Rothay up to the front of the guest house.
Sylvaris kind of like lets the reins go, and he stares at it, and he's just like,
Stay here.
and kind of turns to walk away, but his head lingers staring at the Rothay a little bit before his goes around. He walks on inside, greets everybody.
Staying. Yeah, as you head inside, you see the rest of your group in various stages of eating or not eating as they see fit.
Not all of the group.
You see almost all of the group.
Where's Eska? Time is ticking.
Eska got up at the crack of dawn, left a note with the barman saying that she will meet them at the gates.
Where does Eska go?
Oh, she meets...
You just...
No, she literally packed all her stuff up, downed her breakfast, and is sat at the gates waiting to go home.
I see. Alright, so assuming you guys read the note, you can head over. The cart, incidentally, would sit 4 comfortably, could potentially sit 5 with a squeeze, if you wanted to. It's a big enough cart for a bullet body, for instance. I think that was probably the idea, if I recall correctly.
And whatever other like dragon pieces that we find after we encounter the next one.
Sure.
Good. I mean, I guess I might take the lead though to scout a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, if we're heading out of town, I will also, like, Eska actually prefers to walk than to ride, so she'll probably cover the rear. I mean, there's no reason to suspect anything from the rear, but I mean it's a cave, so she expects danger around every corner.
I don't know. I wanted to actually see if Voyage was out here.
I was literally about to say, just as you guys are getting to the gate, you hear behind you. I see you are leaving already. I think I nearly slept in. And you turn and see Voyage, this time in a pale blue dress, still looking very sort of out of place in what is a very formal outfit in a rather it's not that it's informal down here, but it's more working wear is what you see around you, more practical clothing. She sort of almost glides up to you and says, "Well, thank you again for all of your assistance. I think it's safe to say that you have earned yourself a hero's welcome, should you ever return." And she sort of smiles as Eska shakes her head a little. Should I ever find myself above ground again, or near Delsner, I'll be sure to look for you. No doubt word of your travels will be easy to track down. I suspect you have made a name for yourselves up there as you have down here.
We are gradually making a name for ourselves. In our time down here, I wish to thank you for your hospitality.
It was absolutely my pleasure. You sort of bid your farewells to Voyage and walk through the passageway. Has a little bend in it, so that you have to turn and go through like that. I'm absolutely certain there's a term for it, but I can't think what it is right now.
Zigzag.
Essentially, yes, you zigzag through the wall, and pop out the other side with your route, and begin back to the Earthheart Road, which should take you, based on previous experience, about 2.5 days to get back above ground.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my Rotha down the Earth Hot Road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I got the Rotha in the back. So that's all I got.
That's okay. We'll probably have to cut that. I'm trying to think if Rich has ever put any of those ridiculous things in. I don't know.
Copyright.
Yeah, it's a parody though, so I think you're clear.
That's
So, behind you, you see the tall walls manned with crossbow-wielding gnomes. Up ahead of you, the tunnel is sort of still wreathed in the sort of weird octarine mist that emanates from Badger Down. With each step, the din of the music machine thing and the perpetual hammering slowly gets quieter and quieter and quieter. You don't even notice it necessarily. It takes about 15 minutes of walking before you realize that you can't hear it anymore. And another 5 minutes or so before you can't feel it in your feet. But eventually you get away from it and head back down the path, going from ever-glowing candle to ever-glowing candle. Bador, you said you were in front?
Yep.
Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
There's pretty much only one path back, like we're going back exactly the way we came, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gracious. Good thing I've got a good.
Ooh, wow, you really do have a good.
It's 11.
Okay. So as you're sort of heading along, for the first couple hours, you have a pretty good idea of where you're going. You pretty much know the area, give or take. And you feel like, well, it's pretty easy to stay on the right path when there's always the next light ahead of you. That said, you're still slightly surprised when you get to a familiar sight, it creeps up on you quicker than you expected. So assuming you probably left, maybe 8:39 in the morning, give or take, with the, not necessarily eager to get away, aside from Eska, who's probably just sitting up against the wall for a while. But you come across a very familiar area, and you find yourselves back at the site of the fight with Rashnar and the orcs. You mostly notice that you're back here by the absence of a candle. So at this point, I should check. How are you dealing with light at the moment as you travel along? Are you keeping any light sources up?
So Varus always makes sure that he has enough light to see where he's walking. But he's kind of got the Rothe, so he's not taking point, and he's used to Bardur or Eska doing that.
Gotcha.
Cosette's got the goggles on, I guess, so she doesn't see much better than she's used to. She's probably still sticking close to Silverius, just kind of out of habit, though.
Right.
I mean, unless somebody had asked to light something, I just out of instinct I would not have.
I would have had Kedox up near Bardur, just giving me some visual, like, ahead of myself every now and then.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
Even though I probably couldn't see Bardur because he's like disappears in the dark.
He does that from time to time.
So maybe Kedox is near Eska.
And I mean, I was, remember, I was trailing the group.
Yeah.
Well, then never mind.
Sorry, yeah. I was kind of doing the rear guard, watching for anything sneaking up on us.
Yeah, so you come to this, so Varys, you have your light source, as usual, and it does get very dark up ahead. And Bardor, you obviously, with your superior darkness, and you quickly realize, you see the bridge going across in front of you, and you can smell the acrid smell of the sort of acid pools. Make a perception check for me. Let's have everyone make a perception check, actually. This is not with disadvantage, despite it being dark.
Ooh, natural 20 for a 19.
Wow.
Oh, 20.
7.
Okay, so Claire, you are standing a bit close to Kraelth, and right now what you can smell is Kraelth. It's not a great smell. Everyone else, however, in addition to Kraelth and the smell of the sort of acid pools, you detect the lingering smell of smoke in the air. It smells like wood, maybe with some, like there was a wood fire, but maybe with something else in it.
Do we see a glow or anything?
As you kind of peer closer, I'll say Cassette and Eska, you would probably pick this up quite a ways away, just south of one of the pools. You see some embers, very faint.
And they were not there before?
You guys did not burn anything, no.
Smelling that and seeing that, Eska will just say, or will quietly whisper in an urgent manner, "Hold on."
What?
I dim my light down to, or I sheath my light source down to like real dim.
And she'll just say, "It looks like somebody's been through. There's a fire, a burnt down fire up ahead."
We could go back and spend more days here.
No, I think we should push on and see what's happening. Do you... But I know it didn't work out last time, but should we do the thing where we try and see what's going on? See if there's anybody still lingering? I don't know if more orcs... I mean, I suppose there's always the chance that they had friends that have come to check up on them and found, well, no friends.
That's possible. As far as we know, DM, they did not send anybody out to like do anything out here yet, right?
Correct.
From Badger Down. All right, I'll ready my bow.
Likewise. Do you want to take a side each?
Yeah, that works.
So I guess stealthing,
Okay.
gonna creep into the shadows.
As Bardur and Eska like spread off, a thought came into Silvaris' mind. He whispers to Cosette. He says,
Can you speak to animals?
Do you want me to ask Kraith something? Or communicate something?
I'd like to push him further back. Make sure he, stays calm. In case something happens.
just like a little bit further back from where we came from. Perhaps even off the map.
So I kind of lead him back, I guess. Does he have like reins or something that I can kind of guide him?
Yeah. Make a persuasion check.
Okay.
This is not animal handling since you're just talking to them.
That does use a charge though.
If you're like
That's not ideal.
using speak with animals, yeah.
So 7 total.
Okay.
Not great.
He follows you. He's not the brightest, unfortunately, for Grav. And so, with speak with animals, you can communicate with them both ways. However, the quality of the conversation is definitely dependent on their intelligence, and he ain't that bright. So he just sort of grunts along and says something to the effect of, "Not as nice as scaly one."
I'm much nicer. Just give it time. Trust me. She'll kind of stand next to him, like as far back as we can go, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, so he's safely out of danger and off map.
So she'll ask, so do you want me to stay with him?
Of course not. Just keep him there calm.
Yeah, of course not. I didn't think so either. Got it.
Okay, so Butter and Eska, you are moving up slowly. Did we get stealth? No, let's get stealth from you, please. I guess, Butter, you have advantage right now.
16.
21.
Okay. You can keep moving up, both of you for now. Cassette, you do sort of accidentally like kick your own leg. There's a bit of a clank as you come back up next to Silvaris.
I'm going to attempt to go for a ladder as well.
Okay.
I hear the clank and I just like look around and shake my head. No,
Point to the road, hey.
no one sees me, but it's okay. I'm still judging.
Fair enough. Eska, you said you've gone up the ladder?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going towards the embers.
Okay. Let's have new perception checks from you both, please.
21.
10.
Okay. So, Bardur, as you go past the pool there, you're just sort of like looking around, walking towards the embers, and you see some drag marks from the pool heading towards where the embers are. Eska, you see over near the embers, you can just about make out with the faintest glow lighting them up. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see anything at all. You see what looks like one figure just sort of like sitting cross-legged on the floor, kind of staring at the embers.
And I can't tell what sort of figure it could be.
You have so little light. It's outside of your normal dark vision range. So you just sort of see the vaguest hint of a figure sitting on the floor.
As soon as I notice that, I will use message into Badur's head and say, Badur, in front of you, figure by the fire. Careful.
So you said though there are drag marks out of the pool,
Yes.
and we had dropped stuff into the pool, like meaning bodies.
Yep.
I will ready a continuous readied action to shoot if anything interesting happens.
Right.
Do I mean, I'm not going to go into the pool or anything, but do I notice any looks like bodies or anything in there?
You don't see anything immediately, no.
I've got you covered, Badur. She messages into his head.
So I'll scooch up.
You come around the corner. You see a very young orc. By very young, I mean you maybe don't have a great grasp on orc ages, but if human, you would guess 15, 16, 17, something like that. They have a hair shaved on the side of their heads. Can't really tell color in the dark. But they have sort of like hair on top of their head. You can see a little goatee and some small like tusks protruding from their mouth. Don't seem to be immediately armed, and not wearing armor either. As you approach, you think for a second they look at you, but you're not quite sure. You can't tell if they're just looking around or if they look at you.
Okay. I'm going to draw my pen. And as I come around the corner, I'm gonna stop and with an arrow pointing right at him, and say, "State your business."
As you do that, you see him just look around in panic. Suddenly, who's there? Show yourself.
Tell me what you're doing.
Just sitting here.
You look ill-equipped.
What do you mean?
Why are you alone in the Underdark?
Everyone else is dead. Why are you alone in the Underdark?
I go around to like the other side, like.
Make another stealth check.
Sure.
During this time, I think Eska probably would have just shot a message back to Claire. Just saying, there's a figure up ahead. Can't tell what he is. Badur is investigating.
15 for this one. Yeah.
And as you move around to his right, around the fire, he seems to kind of follow you a little bit. I don't want to fight. I'm not a fighter. I'm unarmed.
So it seems. Were you with these people earlier?
I wasn't with them. They told me to piss off and go down the tunnel.
It's probably better for your sake.
Well, given that they're all dead and I'm not, yes. Bardo, you actually see looking at the bridge that currently on the map shows behind him, you can see where a lot of the planks going across have been pulled out. You gather this was how a fire was started.
How long have you been here?
Since last night.
I sigh because I have no idea what to. So I'll keep my bow drawn and kind of. Well, like, are you sure you're alone?
No.
So help me if you're lying. There will be an arrow between your eyes before you know it.
He just sort of nods.
Then I hesitate for a second and go, all right, move on up. And I'll say it out loud so everybody can hear.
I mean, Esker will make her way. She'll keep her bow drawn, but not taut.
As soon as you sort of come around to where the fence isn't kind of blocking you off, you see him turn to look at you. And then he watches as you walk over and just looks understandably concerned.
He doesn't make any move?
No, he's sitting, I'd say still, but he's kind of quaking, to be honest. He kind of looks from you to a space off to his right, and then back to you. And
instinctively, I probably reach out with detect thoughts, like surface.
Okay. The other guys you would have heard Butter call out. So are you moving up, or what's the plan there?
Yeah, I would probably start. If Barter mentioned that, assuming the coast is clear, create more light and move forward.
Okay.
I don't have the kind of beef that Bardo naturally has with orcs, so like initially as I see him trembling, I do kind of lower my bow. I don't put it away, but I just lower it as a sign of like, I'm not going to immediately kill you. But, you know, suspicion also kicks in, so hence the detect thoughts.
Sure. So
as Salvarius is walking away, she'll like whisper, kind of, should I bring Krauth? Great. How do you say it? Great. There's a lot of consonants in there. Krauth?
Yeah.
Does Cosette say all of this?
You should just rename him.
Now's the time to stop and let's get this pronunciation right.
Yeah, he's just like, not yet.
That's what I thought. Okay, cool.
So as far as surface level thoughts, you detect panic. Pretty much.
She knows how loud she is.
You get a lot of panic. And grief. Sort of flitting between the two, pretty much. As Kedox flies over and lands on the bridge, I'm assuming. And sort of looms down. Even small as he is, he can still loom. Especially when the person is so clearly terrified. He kind of looks up as he hears the wings, and then sees this tiny dragon staring down at him. Eska, you get a very strong reaction to seeing this dragon. Very much fear.
Does he seem like he might bolt?
I mean, just based on body language alone, it looks like he's pretty much paralyzed at this point. While he is certainly scared enough to run, you suspect that
He may have locked up, I guess.
Yes. He can't bring himself to move right now. and he just kind of keeps staring as more of your colleagues come around the corner.
She will make a show of slinging her bow and putting her arms down and out in front of her.
Okay.
And she
There's-
was... Sorry.
I was just saying, there's a hint of relief, but it's very small.
And she will say to him, "My name is Eska. What is your name?"
Vilberg, but they must have called me Vil.
You need not fear from us so long as you remain sensible. We're just passing through and being cautious.
As you get closer to the fire, you can see it was a pretty decent sized fire that's now kind of burnt through. And you do still see there's a couple of bones that you can see in the fire as well, sort of in amongst the ash. Not much. Seems like the fire did a pretty good job.
Were you part of this clan?
I suppose. Yeah, just about.
You don't
Didn't really care for
sound...
me.
You don't sound like you were too attached to them, though.
They just didn't really care for me so much. I don't have the fighting spirit that they wanted.
It looks like you maybe have burned their bodies. Is that a sign of respect to your kind?
That's what you should do with them.
I understand. That is good of you to do that despite their treatment of you.
So I think it's too. Doesn't matter how they treated me.
What was your role in the clan?
Just gather supplies. Try not to get in the way. Sometimes get kicked around a bit for entertainment.
Well, it seems now that you face a choice of where you go from here.
I just figured I'd end up somewhere down here forever. I don't know. I know there's mushrooms down here you can eat.
I mean,
Some you can.
yeah, you want to be careful.
And you with detect thoughts still up, you get a sort of a flash of pride and defiance.
I should warn you, you do not want to venture forwards anywhere from here. I know that you cut off Badger Downs, but now they are back in business and well defended.
I know, I don't go near there. I didn't survive this long by being stupid.
I think at this point Eska kind of looks around to everybody because she's not quite sure, you know, as to the next step. Badger doesn't look like he's about to kill him, does he?
You can't see.
Oh.
Unless Silverius is bringing out a lot of light, I suppose.
At this stage of the conversation, actually, probably, yeah. His light's
Okay.
kind of out full radius.
In that case, you can see Bardor, unless something's changed, still has bow drawn.
I'll have lowered it.
But arrow still knocked.
Knocked, yeah.
Eska will reach out a hand and just relight the fire. If possible. You said it was recent smoke, so I'm assuming it's somewhat relightable.
Yeah, it sort of splutters a bit. There's not a lot left that's consumable there. Smoke is mostly just lingering. There's not a lot of great air currents these tunnels. So the smoke is sort of lingering from the when the fire was lit, but there's some stuff that can still light a little. It's not your best fire. Who are you? I mean, I know who you are.
We
Who are you?
the Hand of Aegis. We are just a group that tries to help people out. We're on our way back from Badger Downs to the surface. I would offer for you to come along, but it sounds like you plan to stay down here.
Yeah, he seems a little conflicted. You're probably getting close to running out of your
Yeah.
time as well, but
Yeah.
you definitely get a very conflicted vibe as the spell sort of starts to fade.
If you do wish to have travel companions heading back in that direction, we're certainly willing to travel with you for as far as you want to go. Safety in numbers and all that. There's some pretty dangerous creatures down in these caves.
Sort of looks up at Kedox. I know.
Don't worry, that's not one of the dangerous ones, despite how it looks.
No, but this one's like it.
That's true.
And you can see he sort of goes a little pale when he says that.
Silvarius says, he goes,
One's all one.
I don't know. I know about the blue one. I don't know if there was more. Sometimes I think some of the tribe used to over exaggerate what they were seeing out there.
I was just going to ask, you said he looked off to the right at one point. Does he do that more than once, or is it just that one time?
I was just looking towards where Bardor was.
Okay.
Because he heard where Bardor moved to.
Okay, I just wanted to check.
Yeah, now that he can see Bardor and Bardor's not quite so threatening, he's focusing on whoever's talking to him.
Your clan. They were the ones in here. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Led by Hrashna.
Are you the only remnant
that I know of? Yeah. You guys seem to take care of the rest. Don't get me wrong. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Most of them were okay, but Rashna took what was good in them and twisted it. Made them greedy, bloodthirsty. I guess I just didn't have enough of that fighting spirit in me for it to really take hold.
in this circumstance? Probably proved for the better. Whereas we did not intend on initially killing all of them. The situation called for it.
He sort of shudders a little. Rashna was evil. It's good that he's gone. Couldn't find his body though. I would have burned it too. He may not be true orc, but he's orc kin. Would have deserved the same.
Because I may have just missed it, has Bardor or Eska said anything about us being involved in what happened in this room?
Not that I can recall.
I got the impression that he knew who we were in regards to what happened here. I could have read that wrong.
I mean, that's kind of what I read too from him.
Okay.
Real quick then, in between all the conversations, Claire is gonna, I guess while Silvarius is talking to to him, Claire's gonna come up behind Eska and just kind of tug on her sleeve and tell her to kind of lean down to her.
Escalanes.
And just whispers to her, "If he was the only survivor and no one's come out from Badger Down, how does he know that we were involved?"
Eska shrugs. Is there because he asked who we were and I said that we helped people with stuff. Would I get any hint that he would have just, when I said that he just insinuated that meant that we were responsible? Or, does that make sense? Like, I was trying to think as well if there was like a particular trigger that meant he knew.
Make an insight check.
Because that was the closest thing I could think to being something that he might have, put it together from. 16.
As you're sort of thinking back over the conversation, he asked who you are, and he said, "Who are you?" And he says, "Well, I know who you are, but who are you?"
Yeah.
So he knew that, like, as you're sort of like going back over the conversation while it's sort of happening and thinking about it, you get the impression that once he was able to see who you were, he knew that you were responsible for what happened.
Okay, Eska will straight up say, "Incidentally, how did you know that we were here and fought these fellows?"
He sort of looks you straight in the face and says, "I watched it all happen." And he just turns and points behind him. And you can see that there is another, there's another corridor or another tunnel exit that leads off to the, as we're looking at it, northwest. None of you really looked at or checked at any stage. And it's certainly very plausible that someone could be cowering there.
Screw it, I'm casting Detect Thoughts again.
Okay.
Just surface again, and she's just gonna say, just to kind of keep an eye on his thoughts.
Now, are you doing this subtly or not?
I will do if... Oh yeah, it takes everything. Yes, I will do this subtly.
Okay.
And she'll just say, "I am sorry you had to witness that. That must have been hard despite how things were."
And you, as you sort of say that, you kind of, you can gather that what he's thinking about right now is watching sort of friends and sort of family being cut down.
Does he seem sort of like, not in a gleeful or vengeful way, as far as you can tell?
Again, it's a very conflicted vibe. On the one hand, this is his people. On the other hand, definitely got the impression that his people weren't that kind to him. They didn't really see him as equal. His mind kind of lingers for a second on Krashnar, and there is a sort of a moment of relief and, yeah, not happiness, but relief that Krashnar was gone.
Listen, I'm a big believer in second chances. Why don't you travel with us, head on out of here, and start again?
You don't mind?
I don't.
I'm staring down at Eska.
I speak for all of us when I say we don't mind at all.
And he kind of looks at the five of you and up at Kedox, trying to gauge. Make a persuasion roll with advantage.
Double 19.
You know, like you can see as he sort of looks across the group, kind of looking at Bardor, he seems unconvinced, but looking at you and Claire and Cassette especially, he seems like he's willing to travel. Very on the fence about Savaris. And the opposite side of the fence when it comes to Bardor. But
At some point, I will probably give my usual disclaimer about he's not as terrible as he seems. But she will walk up slowly and just reach out her hand to, help pick him up.
Okay. And he reaches up and grabs your hand. He does have quite rough hands. I mean, obviously he's been tearing this bridge apart to create the pyre and stuff. But there's some calluses there that you just feel as you help him up. You suspect that he's, used to working with his hands. And like, you're not overly strong, but you kind of lift him up. I think he's probably stronger than he looks too.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a gesture than actual any kind of help.
Mm.
She sort of makes the attempt to help pick him up, but there's no real actual leverage being produced. Yes, we're heading for the surface, and then we're going onwards to Delsima, but you are free to do as you choose when you choose.
What are the people like in Delsima?
I haven't been there long, but some of them are nice, some of them are not so nice. Pretty standard.
Seem to be friendly to an orc.
Do I feel like anybody would be friendly to an orc? My initial reaction is probably not, but I don't know.
No, I mean, obviously, you know of at least one half orc. Gim with the bucket of blood.
Mm.
So I mean, half orc is
they're okay
sort
with, for the most part.
He's part of the furniture there, basically. I mean, Vilberg definitely looks more obviously orcish than a half orc. The sort of the orcish features are a lot stronger. Ears are very pointy. Tusks are still small because he's quite young, but they are very visible nonetheless.
Is he sporting that nice tunic and vest?
Something along those lines, yes. Yeah.
He's somewhat well dressed for an orc.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you recall, you already found a collection of fine clothes, various different bits and pieces in the chests. They've been able to pick various bits and pieces up. Obviously, the ones that you fought were more interested in wearing armor. Vil is the only one who is dressed up to the nines.
If you're interested and want to head back that way, we could certainly ask about in town. We do know a half orc that resides there, so it is not unheard of.
I think I need to close this chapter and leave.
Yeah, you don't seem like this was your scene.
No.
There's a huff from Bardor, and he slings his gear and goes forward and say to be still, and he just immediately starts frisking it.
Make an intimidation check.
We do this with everybody we travel with, don't worry.
Standard procedure.
Yeah.
Intimidation.
Mhm.
All right.
As he's doing that to try and calm the mood, I say, "This is Butter. The Dragonborn over there is Silverius. That's Claire.
Silvar,
And that's Cassette wrestling with the... looking indecisive with the Rothe back there."
22.
Okay. As you walk over to him, he just sort of freezes again and puts up precisely 0 effort to stop you.
Basically, just looking for weapons.
You find no traditional weapons. There is carpentry style hammer that he has that he'd be hard pressed to do much damage with. Beside that, nothing.
I'll just look at him and say he's clear and walk off.
Grabs the carpentry hammer and throws it at your head. No.
It explodes.
Yeah, right.
And he transforms into another dragon.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm Bill. Nice to meet you all, I think.
Likewise. Butter's probably going to be like that for a little while.
It's just dwarves.
Exactly. That's what I always tell myself.
Did you what?
Did I hear that?
Probably.
I'll growl. I heard that.
He looks a little panicked.
And Claire from further away. Hey, I'm not like him.
Yes, Claire's not like Butter. I don't have to say that to myself when Claire does things.
Right. Sorry, it's a lot to
It really is.
yeah.
Don't be fooled by Silverius's friendly appearance. He's also quite huffy.
you hear in the distance as he's walking by Cassette back to Krelth, he's just like,
First a jovial drow, now a cowarding orc.
This is now our second wayward teenager we're sporting somewhere.
Yeah, I've had to take on a replacement seeing as the other one ran away.
Actually, be a third, really.
Oh, if you count the girl?
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
"We're gonna start like an orphanage type thing over at the Pickled Quipper."
We're going to have a back room as an orphanage.
The Hand of Ages, home for wayward teens.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let the Hand of Aegis hold you with their hand through the ages. It could be.
Oh, that's actually better than I thought it was going to be when it started.
Fair enough. We'll allow it.
We're probably just going to try and palm him off onto Kaylee, and Kaylee be like, "Stop bringing these people to me."
Palm him off. I like it.
Do you need a
Oh,
third
yeah.
apprentice? Can I do a... we've kind of passed this point, but I'm going to do a divine sense.
Sure.
I think after all this, we'll be pretty confident, but you just never know. I
Gonna
got
do a
3 of them.
divine smite.
Well, that's... I mean, yeah, that's coming next. That's kind of the combo.
Yeah.
So, what's that? Celestial Fiend and Undead?
Yes.
Within 30 feet?
60.
60. Let me just measure. 60 feet.
And then I move to the left.
I think... Is Kedox celestial in nature?
Yes.
Yeah. So you get Kedox ping on your little celestial, your little divine radar. But that's it.
Okay. Fair enough.
So you gather up your band of misfits, and Vil is just going to sort of walk alongside Eska, probably at the back. How is everyone else walking as we head through?
Claire will probably stick to like the side of our Rose boy.
Mhm.
She's quite fond of cows.
Yeah, so you guys can start motoring. As soon as you get around that corner bar door, you see one of the familiar blue flickering candles way down. So you know you're back on the right path. So, presumably you sort of pick up your regular pace. Kraelth can go has a move of 30 feet, so he's able to keep up with your pace, no problem.
He's faster than Claire and I.
Yeah.
Assume.
Yeah, would be. So he's happy to go at dwarf pace. He's pulling the cart anyway, so that probably does keep him at dwarf pace. And you guys trudge and trudge. It's a long day. You kind of forgot what it was like being in these tunnels as they expand and contract. There's a couple of moments where things get really tight with Kraelth. Well, Kraelth and the wagon, trying to get through some of the spaces where it really does narrow in. But for the most part, everything kind of moves along fairly smoothly.
I was just continuously grumbling about how this could possibly be a trade route with such tight passageways. Generally, just unpleasant.
And it's, you know, with no, obviously there's no obvious thing to mark the passage of time down here other than just the fatigue in your own bodies. You're sort of getting to the point where you are kind of wishing you could rest. And as you're thinking that, you turn the corner and see another candle. And then beyond the candle, it seems to open up into a wider area. Memories start flooding back of a fight a while back. I suppose not that long ago in the grand scheme of things. A fight that very nearly cost Eska and Cosette their lives. And you turn that corner and find yourselves back the large chasm. It looks very similar to how you left it. Yes, you recognize this place. You've rested here before. And as you sort of take it in, look around, you see obviously the drop off to the big chasm in front of you. And on the far side, you can kind of see a the blue candle, but you realize with a certain sort of foreboding sense that there is something curled up near, so like the pedestal is maybe 4 feet tall and the candle sits above the pedestal, and the light is glistening off a large mound of blue scales that is curled up around the bottom of this pedestal. As you come in, Krelth bumping along a little bit, the wagon clunking, you see this creature unravel and look towards you. And for a second, you think this is the very dragon that you killed and pushed down the chasm. As it unravels, it seems larger and wingless, and it stares across towards you in a similar blue light, sniffs, and in Draconic says, I wondered when you'd come. I think that's where we're at for the night.
Oh my god.
What? And just, I think you broke up a little bit. You said smaller, right?
I said a
Well-
little larger.
Larger.
Little larger.
Okay.
But at least no wings.
I'm like, what are you? What?
He said blue scales, and I was like, oh god.
Yeah.
Every time we walk through this chasm, there's a new, bigger, bluer monster.
This is just the blue scale cavern is like
We need to like
Good name. I like that.
find a new route like out of Badger
Yeah,
Down. This is
like-
stupid.
We're just gonna go back to Badger Down, and we're gonna find that river that the drow came down. We're gonna build a boat, and we're just gonna go the other way.
Is this why?
Yes,
Is this
agree
why
to
the
you.
orc
That's
boy
fair.
was there? Is the key to this to feed the orc boy to this to, you know, as a peace offering, and then just keep going by?
He's the appropriate sacrifice
Yeah.
in this quest.
We better get a bonus for this.
right. When we signed up for this, it was like,
Yeah, just go kill a couple of
What,
orcs.
he was gonna give us
What kind of
400 gold.
Was it 400?
I think it's
tried.
800, but you know.
800.
There you go.
okay.
See, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening or watching this episode. Sorry about those little audio issues we talked about at the beginning, but they're gone now, and we'll be back to normal for next time. And see what happens next time with this new blue beast. Bye for now.